Hello friends, and welcome to another video. So we're here in the woodworking shed. We've got projects that we've got going on, but the one I want to talk to is this one. Now this is mostly for interest of anybody prototyping, developing tube amps, building tube amps, want to experiment. And as you may have seen in previous videos, I used a plywood H-frame as to do a rapid prototyping on. And the idea being is that you can easily put it, that H-frame on its side, have the tubes on this protected if you want to turn it down, and have all the circuitry on the bottom. So this is the second iteration of that development H-frame, and I thought I'd share it with you, so for those of you that are interested in doing this, you might be interested in this attempt to actually improve on that. Now, what were the problems with the original plywood H-frame? And I'll try and put a picture overlaying on this video so you can have a look at it, so you know what I mean. Now, this is the second iteration on the H-frame. So what I've done here is solve two problems, and I'll go into these two problems. But basically, with two materials that I used here. This is this pin board. I don't know if you recognize it. Here we go. So we got basically a hardwood. So this is Tasmanian oak, and with a quite dense material that I think is less prone to resonances than the plywood. So, and that leads me into the two problems that I had with the previous frame. A, it couldn't sustain the weight, the increased weight. So as my amps improved, I started to use more and more iron, more and more chokes, heavier power supplies, more capacitor banks. Everything increased in weight, and the next iteration of my Type 50 amp will be probably 15-20 kilos because of two power transformers, which are each about just over 5 kilos weight, or over 10 pounds, 11 pounds. So I need to deal with the weight. The other thing that I noticed was that especially when you used undersized power transformers, is that those will vibrate because they're actually being used to a high percentage of their capacity, and then they start to emit resonances and maybe even couple with other components. And as you know, plywood, which my frame was made of, is also used for active speakers as a way of having controlled resonances. But in an amp I don't want controlled resonances. I want it to be gone as quickly as possible. Now there's two ways of doing it. A, prevent the resonances from coming in, from existing in the first place, which is oversizing, for example, your power transformers and your chokes. And then secondly is using materials that are less prone to it or dissipate it much quickly. So this is an attempt to doing that. I found this, I just felt this it's quite a dense wood. It's homogeneous, so I don't think this, well, it's semi-homogeneous, it's wood fibers pressed together. So I think this will do a better job than plywood. And then here we got hardwood as a different type of material, holding up the frame. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that this frame, which is by the way quite still very, very light, that this will hold up to 20 kilos. It will do this easily. It is as stiff as I can imagine it. So how did I construct this? Well, first of all, I constructed these two H-frames. So here you've got the H, and I used wooden dowels. So if you use sticky tape, you can actually put it on one end and punch holes in for that side, and then the sticky side sticks onto the second side, and you punch the holes in exactly the same spot, and that way the holes on both ends will line up. You just drill them out this way, and you put the wooden dowels in, glue them together, and you've got a nice sturdy H-frame. Now if you're quick as me, then it might not be perfect, but it doesn't really matter for this H-frame. It's not an exhibition piece, it is a development piece, so I stuck it down quite quickly. Here it's better on this end, as you can see. And then the rest is screwed together, so all the cross supports here are done with just two screws. Not glued. The only thing that is glued for the rest is those those dowels, and I glued this on it, a couple of screws in it, but I didn't want this to resonate. I wanted to have good contact with the wood below it. So that's the construction bit. It's a bit made like a cot. So as you can see here, just a single screw here because it won't hold much. Now the only thing missing here is the side panels, which can have the speaker connection or the power connection on it. So these will still need to be fixed. And so you can have a couple of connections on there. And other connections you can do here up at the top, you could do that as well. So that's my new development H-frame. So for those of you that are thinking of it, want to develop an H-frame, I would consider this. It doesn't take much wood. This H-frame is about 1.5 foot by 2 foot, so 60 centimeters by 45 centimeters. It's about 35 centimeters high in total, so that gives me enough here to protect the tubes over here, about 20 centimeters, and about 15 centimeters, which is enough to hide the circuitry on the bottom and attach it over there. The only thing with this cross support is it takes a bit of space away from under here, but that's why I increased the width a little bit. So I think this will do really well. To be reported on how this goes, how it functions. I'll soon, very soon, within days, I will start replacing my Type 50 amp and moving it with the new power transformers and so on onto new chokes onto this frame, and I can report on what the differences are, and I can immediately see how the resonances and vibrations are being dealt with this frame. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting. In the next video we'll talk about this thing over here, but that's it for this video. Thank you for tuning into my channel and all your interest. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and yeah, have a brilliant day and hope to catch you soon. Bye bye.